All right, let's just jump right in. I want you to picture a world with, well, no metal, no guns, and definitely no supermarkets. For our prehistoric ancestors, just surviving was a daily, high-stakes game. It was all about getting enough food without becoming food yourself. And to win that game, it took more than just muscle. It took some serious genius.
And this really gets to the core of it, doesn't it? Just imagine it. You're facing down something huge, like a bison, maybe even a mammoth. All you have is a sharpened stick. To even have a chance, you have to get dangerously close, where the risk of failure or getting seriously hurt is incredibly high. So how could they possibly pull that off? Well, here's the thing. The answer wasn't about getting stronger, it was about getting smarter. Survival literally depended on innovation, on creating brand new tools that could solve these life-or-death problems. They needed a major technological upgrade, a real level up.
Okay, so let's really break down this hunter's dilemma. It boils down to two huge and very different challenges. First, how to hunt dangerous prey safely on land, and second, how to catch slippery, fast-moving prey in the water.
So how did they tackle that first problem, the land hunting one? Well, they came up with an absolutely revolutionary invention, the spear thrower. This was, you could say, the original power-up.
So what exactly is a spear thrower? You might have heard it called an atlatl, and honestly, it's brilliant in its simplicity. At its core, it's a stick with a hook that acts as a lever. The best way to think about it is that it basically makes your arm much, much longer for the split second you're throwing, which generates just incredible speed and power.
And the way it works, it's just pure genius. You hook the back of the dart onto that little spur, you bring your arm back, and you just throw. That simple lever action multiplies the force of your arm, launching that dart at a speed that's just impossible to achieve on your own.
And this is where you see the huge advantages, the real triple threat. All of a sudden, hunters had more distance, so they could strike from much farther away. They had way more force, meaning their spears hit harder and were far more effective, but maybe the most important thing, they had more safety. Because now, you didn't need to be right next to a huge, angry animal to make the shot.
Okay, so land hunting is sorted. But what happens when your food is in the water? That's a whole different ballgame. And for that, our ancestors engineered another incredible solution, the harpoon.
Now, a harpoon is so much more than just a pointy stick. The key features are the barbs, which are designed to catch and hold, and usually a head that actually pops off the main shaft but stays connected by a rope or a line. You see, this wasn't just about striking the prey, it was about securing it.
Yeah, I absolutely love this comparison because it just nails the difference. With a regular spear, you're in a hit-and-hope situation. You hit a fish or a seal, and you just cross your fingers that it doesn't wriggle off and vanish. But the harpoon, that turned it into hit and secure. Once that point was in, the animal was caught. Game over.
And here's the really clever part. It wasn't just one feature, you know? It's how they all worked together as a complete system. The barbs dig in so the point can't just pull out. Then, that detachable head often turns sideways inside the animal, making escape pretty much impossible. And all the while, you have the line, giving you total control to pull in your catch. It's a perfect design.
So, okay, we've got these two amazing tools, but here's the thing. Their importance goes way, way beyond just being clever hunting gadgets. These inventions fundamentally changed the entire trajectory of human history. And this chart just lays it out so clearly, doesn't it? For the land, you had the spear thrower, solving the problem of power and distance with simple lever action. For the water, you had the harpoon, solving the problem of securing slippery prey with a whole system of barbs and lines. Two totally different problems, two brilliant, custom-made solutions.
So what does all this lead to? Well, a massive jump in what we call food security. Now, obviously, that 200% number isn't some precise calculation, but it gets the idea across. A huge, dramatic increase in a community's ability to reliably get enough food to eat. Hunting went from being a dangerous gamble to a much more dependable source of nutrition.
And think about what that kind of reliability does to a society. With a steadier food supply, you can support larger populations. And maybe not everyone has to hunt all day, every day. This leads to the rise of specialists, expert toolmakers. Suddenly knowing how to craft these amazing tools becomes a real source of status. And the tools themselves become so important they start showing up in art and in rituals.
Now you might be thinking, this all sounds amazing, but how on earth do we actually know any of this happened so long ago? Well, that's where the absolutely fascinating science of archaeology comes into play.
I mean, it's a fair question, right? We're talking about wood,
rope, sinew, all the organic parts that just rot away after tens of thousands of years. So how can we possibly be so sure about how these things were made and used? Where's the proof?
Well, the clues are in the parts that last. Archaeologists find the hooks and the barbed points that were made from super durable bone or antler. They find distinctive sockets where wooden shafts once sat. They can even find microscopic wear patterns that show how a tool was held and thrown over and over again. But the part I find absolutely amazing is this field called experimental archaeology. You have scientists who are literally recreating these tools, using them to hunt, and seeing if they can reproduce the exact same marks and fractures. It's like historical detective work, and it's how we prove how this technology actually worked.
So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that these inventions completely shatter that old, tired image of the primitive caveman. These people were not primitive. They were innovators. They were problem solvers. They were engineers, using principles like leverage and material science to solve critical challenges.
And this quote just sums it all up perfectly. This wasn't guesswork, not a grab a stick and hope kind of thing. It was a complex process passed down through generations. These tools were the high-performance, optimized sports equipment of their day, and they're just an incredible testament to the timeless power of human ingenuity.